Hi, I'm Paco Nathan from O'Reilly Media, and we're here at AI New York 2018. It's a pleasure to talk with Mary Beth Ainsworth you're the Senior Product Marketing Manager from SAS.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your keynote this morning. Could you tell us a little bit more about the session talk that you've got coming up?
So I will go into details on the topics I talked about in my keynote. So a lot of exciting work that SAS is doing around wildlife conservation and the application of deep learning and computer vision. And what's really great about this work is that the scientists who brought the work with us, right, they've been doing this for decades, and it truly is a passion of theirs. And they've been using statistical software to sort of look at the measurements of animal footprints and looking to use footprints to monitor density and distribution in an area for understanding wildlife levels and giving that as input into conservation plans. And so to be able to take something that they've been doing in a method that they've created and in many ways perfected, and to be able to find ways to automate that with the newest technology and finding ways to scale those efforts, it's really great to see how you take biologists, zoologists who are experts really in animal welfare and looking at and how to create impactful conservation plans. And now we can take them from that manual task of taking a picture, manually analyzing it, inputting it into a database, and speed that up and automate that and give them time back to actually focus on this very human problem and these human solutions of what are the best ways to implement a conservation plan, design a conservation plan that really does have impact and does meaningfully protect these animals, and understanding the importance of biodiversity to all of us on the planet. And so it's exciting to see how technology takes something that's so far removed from our daily lives and can really make a difference out there in what we consider the wild.
Well, there was a photo that you showed that was just fantastic of how to even spot where the tracks are, how to measure. It seemed like almost a superhuman task to me. There's no way I could really approach it. But now with AI, we can help to augment people and really increase the power of what these scientists are doing.
Yeah, and so being able to identify those footprints, right? The indigenous trackers do it all the time. They've been doing it for years. And the scientists we work with tell a story of when they used to go out and look for animals, they would look out at the horizon because that's where we look for animals. And then they're out there with the trackers, and the trackers are looking at the dirt, and they're looking at the ground, and they said, well, what are you looking at? And they showed how they can say this is a cheetah print. And based on the size, it's probably a female. And they look at things like where did the animal feed? What is the track the animal made? They take into account climate and the sun and things that really take all that human perception. So the challenge is, how do you have a machine learn one aspect of what that tracker can see and do quickly? But that's a skill set and it's evolutionary knowledge. So how can we use technology to replicate that skill set in a way that increases the ability for all of us to make impact, although we may not have that expertise and that skill set? And there's an effort moving forward where anyone can go take a picture on their smartphone with a footprint and upload it for that organization to have access to that database and be able to apply artificial intelligence to that. So, the founders of WildTrack will say not everyone can dart a rhino, but anyone can take a picture of a footprint.
Right, and people are out there, right? I mean, people, it's sort of like citizen data science in its fact. It's more like citizen environmentalism. Yeah,
and I mean, it's a great opportunity for people to learn more if you don't know anything about wildlife conservation. If you didn't know that cheetahs are a vulnerable species, then all of a sudden we've increased our ability to spread knowledge and get people involved in a way they may not have otherwise been able to get involved.
I'm curious, have you gotten to work with any cheetahs personally?
I haven't. I did not get that opportunity, but I've learned a lot in working with the organization, and even some of the footage and the images that they have are just incredible animals. Fastest land animal, I did learn.
Fastest. I took my daughters to a place where they raise cheetahs recently, and they're like the largest cat that purrs.
Yes.
They're really fantastic when you're up close and they're purring. Well, can we talk a little bit also about, in general, what kinds of areas is SAS going into with AI? I mean, what?
So SAS is an analytics company. We've been around for 40-something years, and machine learning is really in our roots.
Right.
And so while people sometimes think of us as a statistics company or, even analytics, people still don't equate analytics with artificial intelligence.
Oh, interesting.
And they don't understand sometimes how much more than statistics that we do at our core. And machine learning is foundational to almost every product that we put out into the market. And the areas that we have focused on and are continuing to focus on are machine learning and deep learning, computer vision, a whole bucket of natural language capability. So processing, understanding, interaction, generation, and then forecasting and optimization. And those are sort of our core focus areas of AI. And what we're doing is we embed them throughout our SaaS platform. And so as our R&D group makes advances in AI research and coming up with new methods and new developments, customers don't have to buy those from us. They just come out and feature releases in our next product. So everything that we are achieving in R&D is pushed right out to our customers. And so AI is so core to nearly everything that we do that customers don't buy an AI product from us. They buy whatever technology helps them solve their problem, and there are going to be AI techniques embedded in that.
Interesting. So for the customers then, it's not as much as being a specialist in AI. It's really imbuing AI into a lot of different domains, a lot of different types of verticals.
Yeah, and so we support the analytics lifecycle. So from data discovery to deployment, and that includes AI. So our core AI capabilities sit in what we call the discovery phase, and then we provide supporting technologies in data and deployment to say that when our customers are looking to create an AI system, right? There are things that meet the definition of AI, and then there are things that you need to operationalize AI, and that includes a great data management plan, the ability to visualize your results, decision management support, and then the ability to take those fantastic models you built and then deploy them and put them in production. And so we provide support for that entire life cycle on our platform, understanding that yes, you need the core AI capabilities, but then you also have to make that work in a larger system, taking in more factors. And so that's where our focus is that everything we do goes into that life cycle and that understanding that we want to help customers really put those models out at the enterprise level.
Fantastic. What are some of the interesting verticals that you're seeing, some of the different application areas in particular?
What we see is that just like with the big data boom, the early adopters are financial services, healthcare. We're seeing a lot of growth industry in manufacturing.
Interesting.
So kind of typically a slower area to come forward, but and right in line with them is government. So you have manufacturing and government who are typically slower to adopt technologies until they're kind of more proven out, kind of coming forward and saying, well, wait a minute, where is that competitive edge? How does this make me work better? How does this make me work smarter? And then there's really, in those industries in particular, a focus on how do we reduce risk?
Right.
Where, how can we have transparency and governance? And SAS does a lot of work around that as well. So we do a lot with making sure that we're building interpretable AI systems, making sure that we talk about ethics. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And GDPR gives us, I think, a lot of insight into that, especially around consent. So just because something can be done, have we really consented that it should be done as a society? And so for industries that are highly regulated, we're doing a lot of work to make sure that they understand that not every algorithm is a black box. So if you need an interpretable system, there's a plethora of algorithms to choose from, and AI is still able to have a large impact in highly regulated areas as well. So I would say financial services and healthcare are kind of where you see really large investments, and retail as well. But I'm surprised by the speed at which manufacturing and government seems to be looking into adopting technology as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. Also very much needed.
Yes.
Well, it's an interesting point that you're bringing out, too. It's not just about having platform. It's also about all the other learnings that come along at an organizational level, the best practices and privacy and thinking ahead about ethics and all that. So it's a lot of what you're bringing to the picture then is how to convey these best practices. Yeah,
and I talk a lot about leadership in AI, and that's really what we need, and that the very first thing that needs to, people need to focus on or bring AI into an organization are the people.
Right.
Your people have to make it work, and you have skill sets in many organizations that can do a lot of what is in the market as AI hype. It just hasn't been labeled AI in the past, even though it is. And so whether it's investing in your existing workforce to get them the new training and exposure to some of these newer methods, or recruiting right out of universities, there's a huge skills gap facing the workplace. So it's investing in people, and then being able to figure out what your strategy is and clearly articulate that to everyone involved, from your developers to your data scientists, to your solutions engineers, to your business users. So everyone knows why you're adopting AI, what you plan to do with it, what the expectations are, and then making sure that there is some kind of governance and ethical and moral structure over that as well, and that it all comes back down to leading people when it comes to implementing AI.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Looking forward to your talk.
Thanks.